Good morning to all of you. Myself, Ashish Kumar, DGT Science, and I am thankful to our principal sir, vice principal sir, our STMC, who has given me the opportunity to represent my views on the topic developing scientific temperament. So let us start. India has great potential in science. Many of our practices have deep-rooted scientific bases, which were, however, twisted as they made their way down the generations. Our ancestors followed the Ayurveda way before it was adopted by the world. Enough now, it's the foreigners who are teaching us more about our own practices than we ever knew. Actually, this session is divided into different parts. At first, what is science? Then we will come to our topic, developing scientific temperament. If science is a subject, or is it a process, or it is the instructional resources and materials. So now, what is science? Students of the modern era should be skilled enough to compete with one another in highly competitive job markets. This is key in order for students to be successful in their respective careers, owing to the fact that competition is going to be so high that if you are not able to compare with the rest, you will surely have a hard time getting absorbed into the industry. So we all have to know about the science, and today's scenario we see that science is going to be a very useful subject, and the student can make their career with the help of the science. Actually, science is a subject which deals with almost everything in the environment. In the schools, science may sometimes seem like a collection of isolated and static facts listed in a textbook. But that's only a small part of the story. Just as importantly, science is also a process of discovery that allows us to link isolated facts into coherent and comprehensive understanding of the natural world. Actually, science is a way of discovering what's in the universe and how those things work today. How they worked in the past, how they are likely to work in the future. This is actually science. Scientists are motivated by the thrill of saying or figuring out something that no one has before. Science is continually refining and expanding our knowledge of the universe, and as it does, it leads to new questions for future investigation. Science will never be finished. It will be continued all the time. Science is a global human endeavor. People all over the world participate in the process of science, and we can too. The principles and the laws in science, when applied, enable us to come up with new and improved products and new ways of doing things. Science, any system of knowledge that is concentrated with the physical world and its phenomena, and that entails unbiased observations and systematic experimentation. In general, a science involves the pursuit of knowledge, covering general truth or the operation of fundamental laws. Equipped with the scientific knowledge, we become creative. The students can also become creative. That means we are able to originate novel ways of doing things rather than follow outdated traditional ways and practices. So we have to adopt the science. Scientific knowledge and procedures make us competent in searching for new and better ways of explaining why and how the event occurs and exists in the environment and all over our earth. So it is important we have to adopt the science. The student, they are capable of knowing the science. They are also interested in science. Science teaching keeps us abreast with discoveries and inventions, thus at pace with global trends and modernization. Now let us see the science as a subject. Actually, it is a required subject for the basic education and as a specialization in higher education. Science is defined as organized knowledge, sometimes referred to as empirical knowledge. It is a field of systematic inquiry. It is in itself a method, a teaching technique, and a system also. It is about nature and natural phenomena, personal interest, and appreciation for genuinely felt. Actually, science has achieved its glories by the application of the method of science, which consists of formulating a hypothesis on the basis of the current knowledge and gathering a lot of data or facts to test its validity. A hypothesis may also be tested by an experiment in a given case, and in the process it may be modified or in some cases may be rejected in favor of another. The science deals with real objects and events also. Authentic experiences are gained and learning can be achieved through life, like learning exposures. It demands perseverance, diligence, and sacrifice also. Now we come to the topic scientific temperament. The word scientific temperament, and then we will discuss about the developing scientific temperament. The word scientific temperament was used first time by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1946. The first and the foremost aspect that is crucial when it comes to developing a student's scientific temper is to feed his or her natural curiosity and encourage them to ask more questions. So, after this word was used in 1946, our former president APJ Abdul Kalam has also kept the opinion every Indian must develop scientific temper. Science and spiritualism seek the same divine blessings for doing good for the people. Science tries to provide solutions for a better material life, while spiritualism looks at answer on how to lead a righteous life. Actually, the scientific temper has come into our laws, into our constitution in the Article 15A. and it was implemented in 1949 in the fundamental duties. After that, our Prime Minister Sir, Shri Narendra Modi ji, he has also given his opinion. The society in which scientific temper gains strength develops faster. Scientific temper eliminates blind belief and reduces superstition. Scientific temper gives societal progress a boost and encourages experimentation. These are the words given by our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi. Now let us see a video. What is the opinion given by the Prime Minister, sir?
साथियों, हम इतिहास के निकट मोड़ पर खड़े हैं। इस वक्त हमारे संविधान को 70 वर्ष हो रहे हैं। हमारे संविधान ने साइंस को विकसित किए जाने की हर देशवासी के कर्तव्य से जोड़ा है, यानी ये हमारी फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी का हिस्सा है। इस ड्यूटी को निभाने की, निरंतर याद करने की, अपनी आने वाली पीढ़ियों को इसके लिए जागरूक करने की हम सभी की जिम्मेदारी है। जिस समाज में साइंटिफिक टेम्पर की ताकत बढ़ती है, उसका विकास भी उतनी ही तेजी से होता है। साइंटिफिक टेम्पर अंधश्रद्धा को मिटाता है, अंधविश्वास को कम करता है। साइंटिफिक टेम्पर समाज में क्रियाशीलता को बढ़ाता है। साइंटिफिक टेम्पर प्रयोगशीलता को प्रोत्साहित करता है। हर चीज में रीजनिंग खोजता है, तर्क और तथ्यों के आधार पर अपनी राय बनाने की समझ पैदा करता है। और सबसे बड़ी बात, ये फियर ऑफ अननोन को चुनौती देने की शक्ति देता है। अनादिकाल से इस फियर ऑफ अननोन को चुनौती देने की शक्ति ने ही अनेक नए तथ्यों को सामने लाने में मदद की है। साथियों, मुझे खुशी है कि देश में आज साइंटिफिक टेम्पर एक अलग स्तर पर है। मैं आपको हाल ही का एक उदाहरण देता हूं। हमारे वैज्ञानिकों ने चंद्रयान 2 पर बहुत मेहनत की थी और इससे बहुत उम्मीदें पैदा हुई थी। सब कुछ योजना के अनुसार नहीं हुआ, फिर भी यह मिशन सफल था। साथियों, मिशन से भी बढ़कर यह भारत के वैज्ञानिक इतिहास में एक महत्वपूर्ण मोड़ हो सकता है। कैसे, मैं आपको बताता हूं। मैंने सोशल मीडिया पर अनेक स्टूडेंट्स, उनके माता पिता के बहुत सारे ट्वीट देखे। वो बता रहे थे कि उन्होंने अपने बहुत कम उम्र के बच्चों को भी चंद्रयान से जुड़ी घटनाओं पर चर्चा करते हुए पाया। कोई लूनर टोपोग्राफी के बारे में बात कर रहा था, तो कुछ सैटेलाइट ट्रेजेक्टरी की चर्चा कर रहे थे, कोई चांद के साउथ पोल में पानी की संभावना पर सवाल पूछ रहा था, तो कोई लूनर ऑर्बिट की बात कर रहा था। माता पिता भी हैरान थे कि इतनी कम उम्र में इन बच्चों में ये मोटिवेशन आया कहां से। देश के इन तमाम माता पिता को लगता है कि उनके बच्चों में आ रही है क्यूरियोसिटी भी चंद्रयान 2 की सफलता ही है। ऐसा लगता है कि साइंस को लेकर हमारे यंग स्टूडेंट्स में रुचि की एक नई लहर पैदा हुई है। इस शक्ति को इस एनएलपी को 21वीं सदी के साइंटिफिक एनवायरनमेंट में सही दिशा में ले जाना, सही प्लेटफॉर्म देना हम सबका दायित्व है।
So we have seen what Prime Minister said about developing scientific temper. So there is a difference between science and scientific temper. Students of science learn about the methods of science and practice them. They function within the professional consensus that their careers depend on productive engagement with the idea of science. Yet, in the larger social communities that they come from, both they and their fellow citizens live everyday lives that are frequently at odds with both the ideas and the method of science. Perhaps as a result, the insistence of the Constitution of India on the development of scientific temper appears to be distinct from the professional concerns of scientists and academics. How do these two sets of ideas, one about the practice of science and other about the practice of a scientific temper, interest with each other? The talk will think also about these issues and will try to make arguments about the basis of the convergence as well as about the factors that lead to apparent divergence between science and scientific temper. Science is an ever-changing and evolving system of knowledge, where knowledge is generated on the basis of rational inquiry, empirical evidence, and by an agreement within the community of scientists. Several concepts that were considered scientifically true earlier have now been replaced by new ones. In recent years, it has been realized by scientists that there could be a transfer of information from generation to generation which is not through DNA, which was earlier considered as the only agent for such transfers. As scientific knowledge gets updated, will be correspondingly be willing to update the holy books. This will sound pleasant. As we have seen, the term scientific temper was given by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Actually, scientific temper is not something that can be bought about by expenses or in the number of institutions of science and technology, but is an attitude of mind characterized by the spirit of inquiry and acceptance of the right to question and to be questioned. So what is scientific temper? The attitude of questioning and questioning, its approach of believing only facts which is supported by relevant evidences, where these evidences are derived from observations, logical interpretation, and conclusion made from experiment or experience which is repeatable under similar conditions. Third one is believing things to the extent of evidence availability. Scientific temper is a true pathfinder and guide for our life. It's not only complex scientific methodology, but it's built on solid base of humility, freedom, courage, fearlessness, and humanity. And last one is its thought process which believes universe runs on its way by natural laws. It is the way of life which uses scientific method. Scientific temper is an attitude which involves the application of logic. Actually, it is a way of life, an individual and social process of thinking and acting, which uses a scientific method, which may include questioning, observing physical reality, testing, hypothesizing, analyzing, and communicating also. Simply a person who embodies the essence of scientific method in his outlook and uses it in his everyday life possesses scientific temper. Simply a person who embodies the essence of scientific method in his outlook and uses it in his everyday life possesses scientific temper. It is about natural and natural phenomena. It is about the interest and the appreciation for the beautiful and the wonderful are generally felt. So this is a flow chart related to the steps of the scientific method. We will discuss in our next slide, in the upcoming slide. Why it is important? Scientific temper helps to understand the whys and hows of life. It preserves the traditional beliefs and without hampering man's curiosity about nature, the wonders of creation, and the origin of the universe. Scientific temper is necessary for an individual to lead a smooth and comfortable life in the society. In order to enhance scientific temper among the students, a specific and clear goal-oriented curriculum is necessary or essential. So the question is how to develop? How to develop the scientific temper? These are some points. We have to encourage students scientific curiosity. The first and the foremost aspect that is crucially when it comes to developing a student's scientific temper is to help their scientific behavior, but it will also help to cultivate their interest regarding the things that they are learning about. Also, incorporate more practical sessions or presentations in the class so that the students feel more engaged in their learning curve, which will make them inspired learners. Regardless of the size of the experiment, we, the teacher, should be able to support the students with their experiments, and this will also help the students to feel more motivated to do more and improve. Imparting knowledge of science through experimentation and demonstration by involving students directly in activities enhances the temperament related to the science. Another point is to improve critical thinking capabilities. Developing the students' critical thinking capabilities will allow them to be more interested in their learning curve and with greater curiosity. The students will be inclined to learn more things. This continuous learning process will not only help them to learn more, but it will also help them to develop their scientific temper also. So, by being self-motivated to learn on a constant basis, the students will also be better equipped to meet the requirements of the modern day industries. Next point is, we should encourage the students to ask questions. This will help to develop their scientific temper. Let the TV time be more for scientific programs, the scientific programmers, than for entertainment. Playing chess can also improve scientific temper. Offer opportunities to practice. This is the crucial to ensure that the students have opportunities to practice what they have learned in an organized manner. This will help be crucial when it comes to ensuring that the scientific temper of the students is being developed. The hands-on experiment that they receive while practicing what they have learned will also help the students acquire valuable practical experiences. As we can see on the screen, the pillars of the scientific temper. There are 6 pillars of the scientific temper. We will discuss one by one. The first is scientific literacy. The second one is scientific attitude. The third one, scientific thinking. Fourth one is scientific method. Fifth one, scientific perception. And the last one is scientific habit. So let us see the first, scientific literacy. Actually, scientific literacy encompasses the facts, scientific concepts and the methodology needed to understand everyday issues. However, scientific literacy should not be misconstrued as a mere understanding of concepts alone. It is also about interpreting theories with a scientific temper. Scientific literacy is based on the understanding that science is an ongoing human endeavor. It is a powerful instrument to understand the natural world and provide tools to augment scientific knowledge. It is the means by which a person can inquire, the person can evolve, the person can discover, and they draw meaningful inferences. A scientifically literate citizen is capable of evaluating different points of views based on appropriate evidences. Every day there are newspaper stories related to the pharmaceuticals, energy needs and the environment. Some typical stories in the newspaper of a day would include articles on a natural disaster in some part of the country, a space shuttle launch, an environmental crisis, or a bomber causing damage to public property and life. It might also include news related to the scientific researches, in-house research studies, the FDA regulating certain procedures or trials, and information regarding the weather. Articles such as nuclear weapons in Russia, tougher battles look for Bush that may seem political at first glance are actually related to science and the environment. So in order to comprehend these news articles, there is a need for citizens to be scientifically literate. This would help them participate in the civic issues of society and make informed decisions to improve their quality of life also. Let us see what is the significance of the scientific literacy. Scientific literacy is important because it helps in making informed decisions, assist in a better understanding of the risk-reward ratio, as well as helping with promoting and achieving scientific literacy. It also helps in making informed decisions in many areas of life. Scientific literacy plays a crucial role in making choices related to health, related to nutrition and the environment also. For instance, we are constantly challenged with environmental issues related to our planet. This concern for our surrounding influences personal preferences such as the choice of the detergents and automobiles. It is in the context that concept of science to conserve, to recycle, to reuse and reduce become meaningful. Scientific literacy thus empowers individuals with critical thinking to inquire, involve, discover and conclude the best possible solution for us and for the planet also. The second one is scientific attitude. It is one of the scientific learning which is important to be cultivated since early childhood. It is a crucial point to be considered to pursue knowledge in various fields, especially in science. The children with good scientific attitude will grow with great rational thinking method. Thus, in turn, help children to have a strong mind. They will be ready to learn and others and take responsibility to their society where they live. Thus, it is important to start their early childhood by cultivating good attitudes. Scientific attitudes will be the basis for inviting the desirable good attributes of young children. Scientific attitude is not only necessary for scientists, it is also important for individuals to be utilized in their self-development. As it is cultivated in their early ages, their curiosity will be gained and they will grow to be responsible adults. Early childhood education focuses on direct experience with one of the key principles. For example, creating science learning systematically. The scientific learning processes means learning meaningfully, happily and using science processes skills. Hence, children's intellectual skills which demonstrate the ability to practice in various aspects of thinking process can be shaped and form scientific mind. Actually, it is most important outcome of science teaching and which enables us to think rationally. It is a disposition to act in certain way of demonstration or feeling and or thought. The method and skills used by scientists are intimately connected to a set of attitudes common in the practices of the science. Studies of the action of scientists have led to list of scientific attitudes. Some attitudes such as honesty would be expected in any human endeavor, but other attitudes such as the tolerance or uncertainty are more characteristics of the scientist. So it is the combination of many qualities and virtues which enable us to think rationally. Scientific attitude is not an approach to solve the world's problems, but it is a way of viewing our world. Scientific attitude is important for developing scientific temperament along with critical thinking and reasoning. Almost all the commissions and committees on school education which were formed after independence have stated the importance of the development of scientific attitude among the students. So, the students having the age of 13 to 15 means secondary school students and their scientific attitudes, they directly related to the nation's progress, nation's welfare and prosperity, and they also depend upon the education and the research done in the field of science and technology. Scientific attitude can contribute to the national development through the eradication of superstitions, developing objectivity, developing curiosity, critical thinking, decision making, etc. So let us see and we will listen what our scientists say about the developing scientific temper.
In the first place, scientific temper is not an academic matter. Scientific temper is in some ways a basic feature of our being human. So I think scientific temper is accepting facts based on evidence. Science is evidence-based, and that evidence has to be statistically significant.
The temper development happens when you start rationalizing things and you actually don't like in a room part, unbiased with your opinion. And that when they tested and whatever the answer, what are you going further on that? So that is what means actually.
Science is not about learning a technique. Science is about asking questions and finding logical and reasonable answers by applying variety of methods, and which includes these technologies using modern technology. So modern technologies alone cannot give you a good answer until or unless you have a very good question in the very first place. So the thing to think about is not whether we should have a scientific temper or not. We don't. You don't cross the road without looking. Why? Because you don't know what happened. Flowers. You can have everything. In agriculture, in medicine, and plant crops. Even if some soil, that's not water. Because so what can you live in a everyday life? As scientific temper shows us what's real. So the question to ask is, why don't we have scientific temper? The question to ask is, why don't we develop scientific temper in the specific instances and cases where we
People just don't realize that it's there in all of us. They think that only some people are cut out to be scientists. That's not true. I think everybody can. It's just that one needs the encouragement and the support from the people around you, which then allows you to grow as a scientist. I think once you get that support and the encouragement, one gains confidence and you know that you can ask questions.
So need not be a person from science. I mean, maybe a person from arts, maybe a person from a commerce background, maybe a person from an economics background. If they are observant, they cannot do science. Scientific temperament doesn't really happen overnight. It is actually the way you born problem. I'm not saying that it is like music or like any other hobby that people are born with. post-graduation. Or even before that, of course. Then, if you're curious, if you're not afraid of asking questions to yourself, of course to others too, but to yourself, and when you ask questions to yourself, how do you answer those questions?
The next pillar is scientific thinking. Scientific thinking is a type of knowledge seeking involving intentional information seeking, including asking questions, testing hypotheses, making observations, recognizing patterns, and making inferences. Much research indicates that children engage in the information-seeking process very early on through questioning, behaviors, and explorations. In fact, children are quite capable and effective in gathering needed information through their questions and can reason about the effectiveness of questions. They can use probabilistic information to guide their questioning and evaluate who they should question to get information. Among other related skills, although formal educational context typically give students questions to explore or steps to follow to do science. Young children's scientific thinking develop scientific temperament, which is driven by natural curiosity about the world around them and the desire to understand it and generate their own questions about the world. We can also enhance to develop the scientific temperament outside the schools. We have to support our children's experiment to find the answer to questions like how does water move around in a planet? What objects float or sink in water? Coax your child to write out his reasoning and read it to the family. Cheer your child on as he creates models or diagrams to explain what he has discovered. Give our child time and permit the mass for her so active of what she has gathered. It's not only learning, but our child's needs to study. There are several mechanisms through which children's curiosity can support the development and persistence of scientific temperament. Three of these are discussed below. The first is motive information seeking behavior, which leads to question asking and other information seeking behavior, and which can activate related previous knowledge and support deeper learning. Although we discuss these as independent consecutive steps for the sake of clarity, it is much more likely that curiosity, question asking and information seeking and cognitive processing of information and learning are all interrelated processes that support each other. For example, information seeking that is not a result of curiosity can lead to new questions, and as previous knowledge is activated, it may influence the ways in which a child seeks information. More research is needed to better understand the children's use of curiosity-driven questioning behavior as well as exploration, but naturalistic observations so that children do ask questions spontaneously to gain information in science. Scientific temperament and scientific thinking both are important. because it minimizes preconceived bias. Scientists limit bias by using objectivity to observe and analyze the subject or phenomenon that is being studied and use only evidence to support or falsely the hypothesis. By using only documented evidence to support or falsely a claim, other scientists and researchers can replicate the experiment to get the same result. The scientific method is known as to think scientifically. The scientific method process is to ask questions, to make observations, form hypotheses and predictions also. Testing can lead to unexpected observations that may make the cycle repeat again with a new unanticipated hypothesis. Sometimes observations are made before questions are asked and then a hypothesis is formed. The scientific method is malleable and non-linear, but nonetheless it is rigorous methodology. Next is scientific method. It is a process with the help of which scientists try to investigate, to verify or to construct an accurate and reliable version of any natural phenomenon. They are done by creating an objective framework for the purpose of scientific inquiry and analyzing the results scientifically to come to a conclusion that either supports or contradicts the observation made at the beginning. Actually, this is the first step of a scientific method to develop scientific temperament. To start one, an observation has to be made into an observable aspect or phenomenon of the universe, and a question needs to be asked about the aspect. For example, you can ask, why is the sky black at night? Another question may be, why is air invisible? So the data collection and hypothesis both helps in the scientific method. Next one is testing the hypothesis. After the hypothesis is made, it's need to be tested scientifically. Scientists do this by conducting experiment. The student can do this also. The aim of these experiments is to determine whether the hypothesis agrees with or contradicts the observation made in the real world. And next is analyze and conclusion. The step involves the use of proper mathematical and other scientific procedures to determine the result of the experiment. Based on the analysis, the future course of action can be determined. Why the scientific method is important? It is important because it's a standardized approach, because it eliminates bias. It is also important because it helps to create the theories. It can also solve the problems. It creates predictive power. The next pillar is scientific perception. This is the ability to perceive everything in reality under a scientific theory. For example, in the eyes of the user, a person with an inferior level of intellect is seen as a non-neutral or a substance including solid, liquid, gases, plasma, etc. is perceived by its elemental composition. Development in science and technology have visible impacts on people's lives. Surveys carried out across countries indicate that the public has a main positive views of the societal impact of science and technology. Science is concerned with perceiving the universe and all who live in her. We no longer believe that the universe perceives us, but what of non-scientists? How, if at all, do they perceive us? Is science seen as interesting or boring or threatening or promising or false promising or what? Are scientists seen as slaves fodder to their burning questions, as they have put it, lamplighters for truth, or are detonators of cosmic explosions, as perceived without a religion, or perhaps simply as provides of plenty? Scientific temperament is directly proportional to the scientific perception. Actually, it is the ability to perceive everything in reality under a scientific theory. For example, in the eyes of the user, a person with an inferior level of intellect is seen as an ethereal or a substance including the states of the matter. And last one is scientific habit. Scientific habit of mind starts with critical reasoning and includes healthy skepticism, the ability to distinguish answerable questions from unanswerable ones, being comfortable examining both quantitative and qualitative information, and the capacity to place things into larger contexts and perceive connections. The scientific habits of mind taught include a range of quantitative reasoning skills and an understanding of the scientific process, basic statistics and probability, experimental design, sense of scale, calculating with units, back of the envelope calculations, feedback loops and graph reading leads to scientific temperament. So as we have heard about the differences between science and scientific temper, let us see a video. What is scientific temper and what is the difference between these two? the scientific temper, the healthy skepticism, universalism, freedom from prejudice or bias, scientific objectivity, open-mindedness and humility, perseverance, or positive approach to failure. Let us see the advantages in developing the scientific skill. With the skill well developed, the students become more careful in making forecasts, otherwise they will turn out to be guesses. The students will skill in predicting speaks of a scientific mind along with scientific temperament. For as long as the forecast is based, student will always be confident in on reliable data. This is a guarantee that follows the scientific method. Another is the constant practice in predicting makes students stick to accurate measurement data and other information. Record scientific observations in the form of graphs or tabulations where students can see a trend or pattern. Provide experiences in making forecasts about events in the environment. They are controlled by time, scientific measuring equipment. Emphasize that there may be several variables that can affect the predicted event, hence the prediction will not be accurate. So the question answer session. The question is, first question, who was the first to use the phrase scientific temper? A. Jawaharlal Nehru, B. Indira Gandhi, C. Rajendra Prasad, D. None of these. Option A. Okay, let us see the answer. Okay, all of you are correct. The answer is Jawaharlal Nehru. The second, there are how much pillars of scientific temper? 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, again you are right. The answer is 6. Let us see the third question. Which article of our Constitution deals with fundamental duties, make it a duty of every citizen to develop scientific temper? Okay, right answer. This is 51A. Question number 4. Which is not the pillar of scientific temperament? Scientific habit, scientific literacy, scientific perception, none of these. A. Anybody else? None of these. Okay, let us see the answer. The answer is D. None of these. And finally, the last question. Who has said scientific temper eliminates blind belief and reduces superstition? A. APJ Abdul Kalam, B. Dabholkar, C. Narendra Modi, D. Jawaharlal Nehru. Who has said? Narendra Modi. Option number C. Yes, again you are right. The answer is Narendra Modi. Okay. Thank you all of you. Thank you for listening. Thank you.